Hi everyone, my name is Aprajita and I am a contemporary dancer, teacher and choreographer. But most importantly, I am a student of dance and I have been dancing for a little over 10 years now. I am also trained in Kathak, not very much but a little bit. And currently I am very interested in researching the various tenets of contemporary dance, where it came from, how it's evolved and the situation that it is in right now and where it's going. And as we all know, that dance reality shows are a massive part of the Indian collective conscience, and for a lot of people, they were the first introduction to many different dance styles, including myself. So I was first introduced to contemporary dance through Dance India Dance, more or less, and Terence Lewis was one of the judges there. And yeah, I think it's been a journey since then. I don't know if reality shows have evolved as much, but we'll see. And this seems to be an interesting video, so let's go for it.
Hey folks, this is Terence Lewis here and you're watching me on the Terence Lewis channel. Now, as much as I'm grateful for all the love and respect that I've received for bringing contemporary dance to the masses in India, there are certain steps and moves when I see, I literally cringe. So once and for all, I want to disperse all the myths and show you what is not contemporary dance.
Although I would definitely like to say that when we are talking about what something is not, I think it's first important to define what it is. Because if I'm going to talk about, let's say, what a rainbow is not, then I will have to first know what a rainbow is. But yeah.
No offense to all those people who are trying to learn contemporary dance, but do remember that contemporary dance is a beautiful, organic form of expression. So please learn it from the right masters and the right steps so you
Who are the right masters and what are the right steps? I think this is a very, as far as contemporary dance is concerned, I think it's a very, it becomes quite the unanswerable question when somebody asks me what is contemporary dance, because I think it's very difficult to define what it is, and even more difficult is to answer the question where should we learn it from, because there are so many different influences that have now become a part of this dance form that it is just very difficult to give a definitive answer as to what is the right way to approach it. Yeah, I think it's unfair to a lot of big and small influences to define it in a specific way and just put it in a box. Yeah.
know exactly how it is to be done and do it well. One of the most funniest dance moves that gets passed off as contemporary dance, especially by dancers, is the one where the dancer is fanning himself profusely and aimlessly. Guys, what the hell are you doing? This is not contemporary dance.
Uh, yeah, it's drawing an equivalence between. I would draw an equivalence between like the daily soaps that we have, the typical Saas Bahu serials, and whatever this is. I think one could argue that that is not acting and that is not, real storyline, or that is not actually storytelling, and one could argue this is not contemporary dance. But then in what category would you put this? Like, if not contemporary dance, then how would you define this? I mean, I'm not saying that this is contemporary dance according to me, but then what is it? And also I think this is something, it's very interesting, because I think that this has sort of evolved, this kind of thing has evolved in India, because that is just how we as an audience connect with something. We just want to see some sort of emotion which is very clear. So I think if something is subtle, then we just somehow, our sensibilities don't catch it in our radars. I think we're just too attuned to emotions being defined to us very clearly. So I think this is something that I've only seen by and large happen in the Indian contemporary dance scene, where people go like crazy with their expressions and whatnot. So it's interesting because I feel like when he was the judge on Dance India Dance, and people did this quite often in auditions as well as in dance competition episodes, he never actually said anything. I'm quite a few times he has actually praised some of these performances. So I'm wondering why the hypocrisy now.
Another step that really gets my goat and irritates me is when every stretch is considered to be contemporary dance. That is
That boy did not point his feet, and that, oh god, I have to talk about this. I'm not a big fan of pointed feet in general, but I think that's something that is a very a conscious decision. So when you see flexed feet, or when you see feet that are just loose, just not neither pointed nor flexed, I think it's a very clear decision on the part of either the choreographer or the dancer. But when the intention is to point and yet the point is not there, I think that is something that has bugged me quite a lot when I watch reality dance shows, because I feel like when you're doing something as traditionally technical as, let's say, a jeté or a pirouette or a fouette, I think the feet are supposed to be pointed, and yet dancers don't do it. And that, I think, bugs me a lot, because I think before you start getting into these extremely technical steps, I can't do more than two pirouettes, and I can't do a fouette. But I would not even try to get into it until I can get the basics right. So I think that what really bugs me is when people don't get the basics right and then just want to like go into all these fancy things because it looks good and it grabs the eyeballs. Uh, yeah.
not contemporary dance. Save that for your ballet and postmodern work.
What ballet and postmodern? Oh my god. What do you know what postmodern is? It's great to throw around these terms like so casually, postmodern, ballet, this and that, but postmodern has literally got nothing to do with technique. I mean, it was basically the abandonment of technique, of all kinds of technique, including ballet and modern. That was the idea of postmodern, that they wanted to abandon technique, they wanted to include pedestrian movement.
Awesome. That may look great, but guess what? That is not contemporary dance. That, my friend, is acrobatics.
I could partly agree with that, because I do see people doing a lot of acrobatics and a lot of honestly unreal looking things in these shows nowadays, which is in the name of contemporary dance, which is not very good.
Stop. Please. Don't do this to yourself, and especially not to me. All this wriggling, screaming, squirming, and over-the-top expressions is not contemporary dance, my friends. And the one step that really makes my blood boil is when I see dancers abusing their bodies by spinning around and falling on their knees, banging their knees with their outstretched arms, crying for help. Really? That's not going to get you far. And more importantly, you're going to damage your knees.
Yes, but I feel like a lot of what he's saying has got a lot to do with the culture that has been promoted and propagated by reality shows, and that includes Terence Lewis as well, because I feel like the whole point of showing contemporary dance on dance reality shows very quickly shifted from it being a form of expression, as he introduced in the beginning of the video, to I think extremely over the top, and it went from being a form of expression to this extremely over the top acrobatics inspired style, because that's what people wanted to consume. And contemporary dance, is so subtle sometimes that it's not very interesting also to watch it being performed, because it's very experiential in its in the way that it's performed. So I feel like a lot of times it's not very entertaining to watch, I would say. And that is one of the reasons why it has gone through the transformation that it has, because it's a show and you need to make sure that people remain interested in what they're watching. And it's not going to happen if you have something which is subtle. I think we as an audience, as consumers of art, as consumers of dance, need to evolve more, because otherwise we just end up throwing everything into the same black hole, which is entertainment. And I think it's okay if it's entertainment, but the definition of entertainment itself needs to expand. Because there was a time when, I mean, if we compare it to the trends in Bollywood, there was a time when only these extremely masala movies were doing well, where Salman Khan would just come on screen, take off his shirt, and that was it. That was the only thing that was needed for a film to work. But now we are seeing how the movies is going through a massive transformation, where so many nuanced and so many different types of movies are doing well, and it's connecting with the audience. And I think that is that kind of transformation is also needed in other performing arts spaces, because I think as far as dance is concerned, and especially mediatized dance is concerned, where we watch and consume dance on television or in movies, I think it's very much the same. We haven't really evolved much from the 1980s or the 1990s. So I think as far as dance is concerned, it needs a massive transformation, and the responsibility is on the creators, on the choreographers, on the dancers, on the producers of television shows. And ultimately that is going to lead a shift in the way viewers watch and consume dance. It's not going to be easy, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to, if you make a show today that shows a different perspective of every dance form, not just contemporary dance, it's not going to be a massive hit. But it will be a beginning, it will be a point where things start to change.
If you've liked this episode, please click on the like, share, comment.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just going to end with the question that I began with, that what exactly is contemporary dance according to Terence Lewis, which is a very interesting question, and something that I would definitely like the current contemporary dance proponents of our country to answer, because I think all of us have a certain image of it in our heads, and it's very difficult to break past that image. I mean, if you have been a fan of, let's say, So You Think You Can Dance, then I think you would have that specific bubble in which your definition of contemporary dance exists. I think our definitions of something are always limited by what we know and what we have seen and what we've experienced, and that is why it is always necessary to constantly challenge our own notions. So we are having conversations around dance which never happened before, but at the same time I think it's very important to root those discussions in some relevant ideas that we are grappling with at this point, because I can't define what contemporary dance is, even for me, leave alone like what is contemporary dance as a definition for everybody. I think I can't define what it is for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. A lot of technical dance jargon, but if you connect with anything that I said, or if you have some feedback, if you don't agree with me and you think I'm talking nonsense, then please do leave your feedback in the comments and I will try to respond.